Sorry, Dawn. There's no way that is press. We have to have some standards.
Alright, let's get this started. For those of you on the Twitch stream, can you hear me? Yes? Just type yeah in the Twitch stream. Alright, cool, thank you. Will the candidates please unmute themselves on the Discord? And yeah, just make sure if you can like hear them. So Norjam, Westcott. Alright, yeah. So let's see. First of all, yeah, welcome to the first legislative debate. I am Don, your moderator, and currently we have Mouse King of the Jaibachi Party, Dave of the Defeatists, Norjam of the Disciples, Yoda of the Monarchist Party, and Westcott, who is an independent. Okay. So I just want to go around and have each of the candidates or representatives of the party introduce themselves, starting with Mouse King and going down.
Alright, hey, what's going on? It's me, Mouse King. I was active in, I think, Mark 7? No, Mark 6. And I'm back, but I'm running as a candidate for the Zaibatsu party.
Alright, Dave?
Alright, what was the question?
I just want you guys to introduce yourselves and explain what your party is about.
Do you want me to explain?
Hello everyone, I'm Dave.
Okay.
My party is... Wait.
Okay, so hold up. Your microphone is a little bit too loud. Yeah. Can you lower it a bit?
1 sec.
Yeah.
Don, maybe if you just lowered him client side, that'd be easier.
Is that better?
Oh yeah, that's a little better, yeah. Yeah, that's better.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Dave. My party is called the Big Party. Our goal is to make life as hard as possible for all the other parties.
Alright, is that it?
Yeah, pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, pretty straightforward, yeah. Norjam, your turn.
Hi, I'm Lord Norjam, running for the Disciples of Heaven or Tengoku no Deshi. I was active in Mark 3 and Mark 6, and this time I'm the Disciples are running on a faith and science platform. We're going to use religion to get to space.
Alright, cool. Norjam with a funny little accent right there. Okay. So next up is Yoda of the Monarchist.
Hi everyone. Like he said, my name is Yoda, and I'm running on behalf of the National Monarchist Party. Our focus as a party is to get a cultural victory and in roleplay, establish a constitutional tenno who will rule on behalf of the Japanese people.
Alright, cool. And finally, we have Westcott, who is running as an independent. Just Westcott, just explain what your views will be, and yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so my name is Westcott. I've been around since Mark II, holding office in just about every mark: Chief Justice, Minister, General, Legislator. I'm running as an independent to check the power of parties, because I think parties that get too in their head about coalition building can be a bad influence on the game. So I think there should be strong independence to balance them out. That's why I also support fellow candidate Alexander the Great and Ninja Otter, two other independents. I just think having an independence good.
Alright, cool.
You guys should make a party of independence.
Who was that?
That was me. That was Mouse.
Okay, can you actually can you raise your volume a bit, because we can't hear you. Well, I can't hear you as well. So,
Okay. Well, that's awkward.
huh.
Do-do-do.
Alright, cool. So before we start off with the questions, we currently have 4 major questions that will be asked for, that me, the Jukes, and HChem will ask in each debate. We will also have, at least in my debate, we'll have a crossfire section. So what I want each of the candidates to do, so let's say, Norjum gives his answer out for question 2, and Westcott wants to use a crossfire on him. What Westcott will do is he will type crossfire into the Twitch chat, and when Norjum is done, then Westcott can proceed with his crossfire. In addition, if there's no crossfire, we just skip to the next person. And of course, as 14 says in the chat, yes, the audience may submit questions at any point. So if it is a question that is pertaining to the major question, so like what game settings would your party advocate for, then I will ask that question to the specific candidate at that time, like right after they answer that question and after the crossfire section. If it is a miscellaneous question that doesn't relate to the debate questions at hand, then it will be moved to the end of the debate. Okay, so, alright, let's get started. So, first up we have Mouse King of the Zaibachi Party. So, Mouse King, what game settings would your party advocate for? What would be your preferred map type, your preferred DLC, and your preferred difficulty?
So, for map types, we want to run either Island Plates or Terra.
Okay.
For DLC, we want to include all of them, like Gathering Storm, Rise and Fall, etc. Difficulty, I don't know if we really have preference. And then for the adjustable, run Barbarian Clans and Monopolies and Corporations.
Okay. So, do you have any other game settings that you would prefer?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. So then, Dave, your answers for that question?
Hardest difficulty. And as for the others, I don't really, or we don't really care.
Yeah, okay. So fine, then Norjum, your answer to the question?
I think that map is there are a lot of different maps that could possibly work. Terra, Island Plates, all of those good options, but the disciples don't have a particular one that we're advocating for very specifically. In terms of game settings, I think it would be very useful if we had barbarian clans, and with that we should probably also decrease the number of city-states in the game. I also think it's worth considering playing on a large map, but with a standard amount of civilizations, which just gives us more room to expand. Another thing worth looking into is banning all the civilization Mark 7 variety.
Okay, cool. Yoda?
So in terms of game settings, just play on the usual settings for a regular Civ game. Preferably, we would use continents in terms of map type, though Fractal or Terra would also be acceptable. For DLC, Gathering Storm and Rise and Fall, but not the New Frontier Pass, is a lot of the stuff in there is just simply broken and not very utilized well in terms of gameplay, with the exception of barbarian clans. And lastly, how could I be a monarchist and not want to play on king difficulty?
Personally, I would think you would have wanted to play on Emperor difficulty or something similar. Westcott?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna list settings. I think we should do a public referendum. We've done it past marks. It's worked pretty well. We get a good sense of what everyone wants. Consensus agreement. It's not made by the parties who think they know everything. It's correctly. So that's what I would advocate for.
Okay, cool. So since we have no crossfires from our candidates, then we will proceed on to the next question. What are your initial plans for the first game session / stream? What would your party like to pass or implement if you had majority power? Mousing?
Hello. Plans for the first game is quite straightforward. We got to pump out as many settlers as possible and get as much land as possible, because as has any knowledge whatsoever knows, the three constituent components of any functioning economy are land, labor, and capital. And at the beginning of the game, land is freely available, and we got to get as much of it as possible. We got to get all the juicy, all the fertile, all the productive land as possible. We got to get all of it, because that will be the base upon which we build our magnificent engines of wealth creation. And then secondarily, the number of states or territories that we can create based on what's in the Constitution. And then there's more democratic subunits, more people can get involved, and it'll create a more it'll take some power, a strong government that nobody really wants, because that's an impediment to freedom. We need more zones for businesses. We need more freedom. We need more democracy. This is Democraciv. That's the whole point. All right, so we just gotta pump out settlers like nobody's fucking business. You know what I mean? We just gotta keep going. Settler after settler after settler. That's all.
Okay, very ambitious first plan. I'm not sure what to make of that, considering you are part of the Daibachi party, or corporation, I should say. But we will move on to the next candidate, who is Dave. What are your initial plans?
I agree with everything he just said. We should build nothing except settlers for the first 70 turns.
That's incredible. Look at that. The what is it? The Dick Party and the Zaibatsu Party. There we go. That's coalition building, boys.
Oh, and maybe we should settle our cities in the shape of a penis.
Okay.
Quality policy right here.
Okay. Again, quite impressive and ambitious considering your party's capacity. Considering that
Thank you.
only one person in your party.
Damn, just roasting the guy? You're the moderator.
We might have
You know what? Party of one, that
parties.
makes him an independent too. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, but like.
Yeah, Wes, you gotta build the independent party, a global movement of independent parties. You know what I mean?
Okay. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Since Dave, is that all you have to say on that question?
First 70 turns, what we should do. Oh, yeah, we should also move our initial settler as far as possible before we settle.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Well, this is totally not to ruin the game. Instead, this is to find the best place to settle.
How far is as far as possible?
I'm thinking we finish circling the whole continent before settling.
Yeah, well, we want to
Yeah,
know our
that-
options, right?
Yeah, that makes sense, right? We
Okay,
want to
okay.
explore
I'm gonna
everything.
ask
It's
you.
a permanent decision.
I'm going to
We
ask you
can't reverse
to
it.
to please type in Crossfire after Dave is done. You know?
I think we're good.
Yes. Thank you. Dave, please continue. Unless you are finished.
So basically, well, see,
You could go forever.
letting
You can.
civilians explore is a very communistic idea because because settlers' job is to settle, but if you let them explore, that's not their job, and everyone doing everything is communism. So that's why the Communist Party should also support us.
I don't think there's a communist party.
Okay. Okay.
And also, do we have a capitalist party? No.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
we do.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm right
And
here.
he's
And
in
also-
the debate with you.
Okay, giving people the freedom to explore is a very capitalistic thing, which is why the Capitalist Party should support us. Forcing your people to walk around randomly is a very monarchy thing to do, which is why the monarchists should support us.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm just gonna cut you off
And
there. I'm just gonna cut you off there.
And who's the independent again?
This is not the time to
I think we can move on.
to politically theorize on why certain parties should support you in your expansive ways. We're going to be moving on to Northern of the Disciples. What is your answer to the question of what are your initial plans for the first game session, and what would your party like to pass or implement if you had majority power?
Well, first of all, I think we'd like to pass the procedural bills I've already written and drafted. That is obviously the amendment to the Constitution to that judicial acceptances, as well as the parliamentary procedures, dual mandate fixes as well, and also the flavorful session naming bill, which will give every parliamentary session a name reminiscent of like a Japanese era name. Apart from that, we would like to obviously settle our first city, Kyoto, which we think we should build a holy site and a campus in as soon as possible. So our first technology choices are going to be astrology, pottery, and writing.
Alright. Very good answer from Norton. And next up, we will have Yoda of the Monarchist Party.
So, true to my name, I believe the first thing that we should do at the legislative session is to enshrine Japanese tenno in the Constitution, and this tenno would have the ability to knight people as designated individuals worthy of being known as sama. So, for example, the king would be known as the tenno sama, and in terms of the Civ game, the first thing we want to do is try and settle as fast as possible with whatever location we're randomly generated at, and then build a monument if there are no city-states in sight, or a warrior if there are.
Alright, that is a very good answer from Yoda. And finally, we have Westgut.
All right, so I'm under no delusion that I'll get a full majority. So I'll throw that part of the question out. But really, what I think we need to focus on is first off, instead of just like rushing towards the game, which I think we will do, we really should take our time as a parliament to fully flesh out like how we want the game to be run. Because if we just go in week 1 with a game session, the prime minister is going to do everything, and it will be like that for the rest of the mark. Trust me, I've been on every ministry, and that's how it works.
Alright.
There you go.
Good answer from Westgut. Mouse King has stated Crossfire in the Twitch chat. I'm sorry, Mouse King, if that was referring to Yoda
That was
or
for me.
Lord Jim. So,
No, that was for Yoda actually, but I mean, I can do both. Why not?
okay, so go ahead.
Double trouble.
All right, I want to know why Yoda wants to build a warrior if there's a city-state nearby.
Well, the reason is to obviously to take over that city-state because they are encroaching on our homeland. The gods have given this to us, and so if they are not willing to give us that land that we properly deserve, then we'll have to take it from them by force.
Seems reasonable.
Exactly.
Cool. There are no other Crossfires I see. And, Mouse King, is that all you have?
Well, I mean, maybe Wes could expand on why he thinks we need to initially determine things, because he seems to be under the assumption that the PM will just run the game if we don't. So maybe he has some suggestions on why, and maybe a bit of a rationale on how.
Well, our constitution is set up very similarly to Mark 4 and 6, where the executive can do a good amount of stuff before, if the legislature doesn't tell them a different way to do it. Like you were on the ministry in Mark 6, you know how that works. If the legislature doesn't have a law saying something about it, we can just do it. We have very broad in-game powers. That's how the executive usually works. I think if we're going for a parliament system, that we shouldn't go towards that. We want to correct for that. And the way we do that is we figure out how we're going to do these decisions now. Figure out, it doesn't take that much work to just put up religion referendum bills. How we select social policies and everything. How we want trade done. Whatever. We should put those systems in place before we get to the point where we need them, because it just makes it. We need the infrastructure set up beforehand.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. I'm not gonna lie.
Alright, cool. That's a good answer from Westgut. Question 4 then. We'll go on to. Okay, so Northam has called a Crossfire. Northam, you may go ahead.
For Wes, what sort of system would you propose for example, selecting a technology? Would you leave that up entirely to Parliament, or would you have the Prime Minister appoint like a Minister of Science to do it for them, or would you have
certainly the
like a
Prime
committee?
Minister? Certainly, the Prime Minister shouldn't be appointing that person, because then the Parliament should be appointing that person. If we were to have a scientist type role like that, that could be one way. In Mark 7 Canada, I actually made a system for technology proposals that go through a Parliament. I could dust that off if we really wanted it. Let me find that real fast, actually. But yeah, I'm not saying I'm personally going to be making every single system, and I'm going to like make a big omnibus package. I want to work with all of the parties. I want to work with everyone in Parliament to get that done, to make sure we do that.
Alright. Northam, is that all you have?
Yes, that's all for me.
Okay, cool. So I see no other Crossfires from the candidates in the chat, so we'll move on to question number 4. What are your thoughts on how Japan should approach relationships with city-states and other nations? Mouse King, it's your turn.
So I'll start off by saying that the Zaibatsu party, we're not looking to be imperialists. We don't value war for the sake of war. or for the glory of the nation. We don't put stock in the idea that there's some inherent virtue to battle, but we do believe that to safeguard the wealth that we intend to create as, jobs producing mega conglomerate, that we should have, a significant or reasonably well funded military to protect us. As far as relations go, with these other people, like city states, like we're not looking to like build a couple warriors for first couple rounds, and go at some poor little city state. That could be our friend. That could be a junior associate, in the corporate structure, right? There's no reason to just go at that guy and just take him out. Doesn't seem reasonable, right? So what we want, okay, is we want like friendship and peace with as many people as possible, because that's how you get rich, and we all want to get rich. Everybody wants to get rich, right? So we're not really looking for this warfare kind of stuff, unless it's necessary. Like we need a certain something. Somebody's got a certain something and we need it. Maybe we can talk about taking it, but we're not warmongering. Okay, that's not the plan. All right. Similarly, we have a couple ideas regarding like how we should treat our friends, defensive pacts and alliances. You don't want to be involved in that. That's a mess of entanglements. Okay, you don't want to do that. It's not worth it. All right, you don't want to be drawn into wars that you don't need to be in. You could be on the sidelines, making money. All right, you don't need to do it.
I really
Alright,
need to
so
look at
that's-
it. Sorry.
So that's those are our thoughts. We want, generally speaking, friendly, cordial, commercial relations with the other citizens in the game, and with city states.
Alright, that is a good answer, and I feel like that summarizes what the Zaibati Party would generally try to pursue in Mark 8. Dave, yeah.
The Democraciv Crossfire was mine, by the way. I'll type it in.
Okay, so to the person who is behind the democracy, like, it's Westcott. Are you the person?
I'm Democraciv.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool. Go ahead.
I am Democraciv. So you said towards the end there that alliances and defensive pacts and stuff was like an entanglement that just makes us bad. Like it's no good for us.
Unnecessary entanglements that do not necessarily align with our interest. Yeah.
I completely disagree. I do think we should have a fair amount of caution before entering, deep alliances, but I think they're very powerful, not only for our own protection, but protecting our allies makes us stronger. Having allies just makes us stronger. I think being an isolated little, we'll just deal to everyone, I don't think that's any good. Sure, we might make some cash, but
What do you mean? That you're talking about you want friends to be stronger, and we're saying be friends with everyone.
I think allowing warmongers to attack people that we are aligned with and not defending them, it's no good. That's what I mean by.
If there was an overriding concern, necessity to align ourselves with somebody because there was another extremely belligerent civilization threatening our interest, that would make sense.
Yeah,
but willy-nilly aligning yourselves with the
Of course, but the question really is, where do you draw that line? What is an imminent threat to you? I think anyone trying to attack our allies, we should defend it. Because when we say we'll defend them too, then they won't attack.
But then this begs the question of like why they would be our ally in the first place if they're so weak as to get attacked.
We could get attacked too. We want them to help us. There's. What do you mean? If they're getting attacked, they're too weak for us.
Okay, so how do you determine who should be our friend then?
People we have strong cultural, religious, or economic ties with. Strategic partners, people who we trade a lot with. Just our usually in Civ games, you can shake out natural allies. And I support
those. So these might be overriding concerns that would take precedence over that. But the point I'm trying to make is to not rush into anything early game. Keep our options open.
Sounded like you wanted to avoid it entirely.
Well, the situation is contingent as things change during the course of the mark, right? So.
All right, that's all.
Alright, cool. Thank you, Westcott. Next up will be Dave. What are your thoughts on how Japan should approach relationships with city-states and other nations?
Dave is gone.
Dave is over. Okay, then in that case, we'll skip to Norjam.
We can simulate his
Um,
answer.
yeah,
Kill everyone. There you go.
Yeah. We'll
At the
skip
moment,
to-
I don't think we can particularly weigh in on that. Personally, I think we should just take a balanced approach. Build up a military, but not necessarily use it. Perhaps just use it to defend our interests. It might be expedient to go to war with a city-state, but it might also not be as good, and to just instead become the suzerain of that city-state by other means.
Alright. Is that it?
Yes.
Alright, cool. Yoda, it is your turn.
So, like I touched on a little bit before, any city-states that spawn directly near us in the in our vicinity early game, we are going to invade them as soon as we have the military power to, just because they're a waste of space on our beautiful continent. But besides from any city-states trying to impede our nation, we plan to stay very pacifistic, keeping a strong military, but never using it for any offensive wars unless they have greatly infuriated our nation or dishonored our Tenno. Those are the few exceptions in which we will go to offensive war.
Alright.
Oh,
Cool.
wait, outside of an early game rampage, correct?
Outside of an early game rampage, for the most part, yes.
Hell yeah, brother.
Thank you. Can I take that as an official endorsement?
No.
Oh.
Okay, Westcott.
All right. So yeah, like I said before, I support having allies. Can you repeat the full question actually?
Okay, so what
I don't
are
remember.
your thoughts on how Japan should approach relationships with city-states and other nations?
Okay, yeah. I support having, strategic natural allies. I'm definitely pro city-state allying. I'm not pro city-state massacring early game. I'm not sure what that's about, to be honest. I don't think that I wouldn't vote for any war to do that. Yeah. I in general, if you know me at all, I've led quite a few wars in Democraciv history. I'm relatively pro-war. If there's a good reason for it, I'll vote for it. I don't think we should be going super heavy war machine, Zerg rushing anything, not too extreme on that.
Alright, good. I see no crossfires for this question for any of the candidates yet. So we will move on to question number 5. This is the last of the big 4 questions. So after that, we are going to go to the audience questions. So for Mouse King, you are up first. The question is, what are your thoughts on implementing official economic systems, currency, housing, districts, etc.?
Okay, so like my experience with currencies and other like economic systems in previous marks is that they sort of, I don't know, they're pretty polarizing in how people feel about them. So like from like a non-RP perspective, I'm not really sure. I feel like it'd be worth looking into, and possibly like I feel like something like that needs to have a broad consensus. It can't just be something that we do for fun, like for fun because one party wants to or can do it, right? Like if it's going to take away and detract from how everybody else that is playing the game feels, then I don't know about it. Like instituting it, I'm like open to it. I mean, they're kind of cheeky. I'm not gonna lie, right? But as far as the other things, I'm not really sure what you mean by like housing or districts. Like, do you mean like in game, like housing and districts, or do you mean like housing and district systems, like outside, like RP stuff?
Alright, very good, Andrew. Dave. Oh, okay, Dave's gone, I believe. So we'll skip to Norton.
Well, yes, question.
Yes, repeat. Okay, so what are your thoughts on implementing official economic systems? Your thoughts on currency, housing, and or districts, and etc.
I think with the constitution we've set out, I think there is a possibility for a housing system to take place and a housing market to evolve. But as has been said, it doesn't work if nobody else kind of works with it. It has to be a unified thing throughout the whole game. Otherwise, it'll just be another D Corp, which won't be fun for anyone.
Alright.
Yeah.
Good answer, Yoda.
So I joined late Mark 6. I don't have any experience with in the economy as I wasn't in the Ottomans for Mark 7. But so I'm not sure about how D Corp was flawed in any ways or anything other than what I've been told about. But I do think an economy would be an excellent way for players to engage despite not getting a position in government. I think an economy would be a great way to do something and not just have to sit there and wait till the next elections.
Alright, good. And finally, Weska.
Yeah, so I definitely agree a lot with Mouse. I think we both saw earlier economic systems that weren't the Mark 7 systems that a lot of people are familiar with now. And those ones weren't as successful as the Mark 7 ones. So I think we're a little more cautious overall. I'd be open to you can tell me if I'm right or wrong on that. But I'm open to a currency. I just want to make sure it isn't unbalanced in the game. I want to make sure it doesn't affect democracy, like where everyone is having a fair say and everything. I think it could work easily. As for housing, if that's referring to like the political, there's a proposal, there was during the convention, of like housing in cities where like you can move in and there's limited supply in all the cities and that's like where you vote and stuff. I'm kind of against that, to be honest. Just because I think it creates misrepresentation. It kind of reminds me of Mark 5, which was full of misrepresentation in my opinion, like just really weird elections. So yeah, I think that's it.
Alright, cool. So now we will move on to the audience questions. The first question we have is from Tefmon. So, for all the candidates, what are your views on capital punishment? This is a purely RP question. No need to probably get too deep into it. Mouse King, you are up first.
All right, so capital punishment, terrible idea. Okay, here's why. Because prison labor is critical to the Zaibatsu Corporation's supply chains. Okay, we need, if people need to be punished. They did some bad stuff. You can't just get rid of them. You can't just throw them away. Just drop their head off, hang them, shoot them, whatever. That's a waste of perfectly good set of hands. Like do stuff. Make I don't know, widgets. Prison widgets. That kind of thing. So no, we're 100%. Capital punishment. That's like old timey bad crap. Okay, you don't want that. You want prison labor. All right, it's an integral part of any supply chain. All right, that's my answer.
Alright, cool. Nojim.
I think the capital punishment proposal of Tefmon is certainly interesting. I I think it might, if you don't know, the proposal is that if you've been charged with a particularly heinous crime like, I don't know, electoral fraud or something, given that this is Democraciv and you can't have, like, capital crimes such as the stuff we have in the real world, but, like, you would be ineligible to be in Parliament for a certain amount of time, or like vote for a certain amount of time, or something like that. I think it's interesting, but it does risk losing engagement with Democraciv itself. So I think it's worth looking into, but I wouldn't commit to supporting or denying it for now.
Alright. Next one would be Yoda. The question is, what are your views on capital punishment?
So, in character, in game, I am all for it. I do think if the crime is worthy of capital punishment, then they shall receive. However, out of game, I don't think anyone should be punished in Democraciv for capital punishment inside the game. And so I think it should be a purely RP thing.
Alright, cool, Westcott.
Well, for starters, I'm a mod, so capital punishment to me means banning people, and I love banning people, so totally pro in that aspect. However, I am completely against the capital punishment, with the sole exception of terrorists, because we can't let the terrorists win. That's it.
Alright, cool.
Because I don't think we can ever be certain, or who the fuck cares? Just if we're not, we can never be completely certain, right? So just throw them in jail for life. That's worse, anyways.
Alright, cool. Good answer from Westcott, I guess. And I think there are a couple main questions. Angus has a good question. So, I know that a lot of you guys, some of you guys are not going to be running in the legislature, but who would your legislature candidates, for the Zaibatu party or the disciples, who would you gift your extra 5% if you have more percent than you know what to do with? Who would you donate it to? For Yoda and Westgut, if you do not reach the 5% threshold,
Well, what if I get 22%? What about that, huh?
Well, okay, if you get 22%, then you will be cut down to 10%, and you will obviously have to give the 12% to someone else. So the question is asking, who would you give that extra percent if you go over the threshold, your preferred threshold, or you go under your 5% threshold? So, Mouse King, you may go first.
Who would I give my percent to if I failed to reach
5%.
a meager 5%?
Or, well, if you have extra percent that you can't really give to anybody in your party, then who would you give it to? That's
I mean, we got a lot of members in this party, so I feel like if I go over 5, I can get a lot of legislators on the bench. You know what I'm saying? If I don't make it though, I mean, that'd be sad. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to do a little bit of negotiation, a little bit of cheeky negotiation, post voting to see who I would support. So far, it seems like a lot of people are kind of, they're kind of treating Zaibatsu as like an enemy, But you guys got to start realizing that, like, possibly, we're your friends, all right? So that's my answer to that.
Okay. Norjan?
Obviously, if we go over, I'm distributing among my party, but I think if we go under 5%, then our closest allies could be, for example, the Patriot Party, or even the National Monarchists. I think we could work closely with them, with the proviso that we are negotiating for favorable terms for the disciples. If we go too far over, same there as well.
Okay. Good one from Norgem. So, Yoda, your turn.
I think the question is whether I can make it over that 5%.
Yeah, if you, yeah.
Being a one-person party, also known as an independent with delusions of grandeur, I do believe that if I were not to make that 5%, I would give whatever I got to either the Disciples of Heaven or the Patriot Party, as I do plan on working closely with all of them.
Okay, I see. That's a good answer from you, Yoda. And finally, Westcott.
So if I got over 10%, because
Oh.
the cap is 10%, right? I would give any extra to my good friend Alexander the Great, and probably the Ninja Otter, the two other independents in this race. Unless maybe it was like 1% and I could make a deal with I don't know. I would rather not do that. If I got under 5%, then I'd try to pool together with those other independents as well.
Okay. I see. That's a good answer. H. Kim has a question. Where do you guys stand on making Taylor the ceremonial emperor of Japan? Mouse King.
That sounds pretty awesome. Taylor's pretty awesome. He could definitely be the ceremonial emperor of Japan.
Norgem.
I think that's would be fun, but I also think that having an active tenor is something to aim for. And if it's Taylor, then that means that it won't move around, and more than one person won't be able to be tenor. So I would rather have it be a sort of hereditary position, sort of similar to Yoda's proposal. Though I suppose we could have Taylor as the tenor and then have someone else as a shogun.
Okay. Yoda.
So this is interesting because my plan for the first tenno, the candidate of my choice would have been Taylor, as he's a very prominent, very iconic D-Civ user who said he doesn't really have time to fully participate. And so I think him starting out as the first tenno would be a great base for a beautiful Imperial legacy.
Finally, Westcott.
If I had to pick a ceremonial monarch, I would pick Taylor. I'd rather not have one though.
Okay. So that concludes the current audience questions. And now I have a couple questions for individual members. For the other members, you are feel free to type in Crossfire and contest. So, Mouse King for the Diabotic Party. So, I know that you guys have been coming in. Well, it was really quite a surprise seeing the Diabotic Party come in with an awesome amount of members. What was it? Above 20 now. I believe it is 24 currently. So, what do you have to say to those who think that you are a threat to them, especially those who are like the minor party, who they see themselves as like the Guild of Green, for example? I think they used to see themselves as one of the biggest parties, but now they are only like half the size, a third of the size of the Zaibachi Corporation. What do you have to say to them?
What do I have to say to them?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe they just need to get better at recruiting. I don't know. Like, listen, we're open to working with anybody. Okay, so long as we have some interest in common. I think there's a little bit of a hubbub that happened when people found out how much HKIM had done to put this group together, and it stepped on people's toes. But the thing is, like, we're not crazy. We're not out there. I mean, we're a little out there, but we're not that out there. We're open to working with anyone. So I don't see why the idea that there's one party that's significantly large. I mean, is it really significant? Like, if you add up all the members of all the other parties, we're outnumbered. So it's I don't really know if I buy into this whole is game breaking, or is it something people should be scared about. You guys should be open to working with us, because
Okay.
we're open to working with you. So
In the case that you say, let's say you get, let's say 20%, 30%, probably gonna be far larger than the other parties. Um,
sorry, what you
to
cut out
what?
there.
Well, large, or they're definitely gonna be quite a bit larger than, let's say, Guild of Green. So, to what extent are you going to be able to work with these parties? For example, on an environmentalist level, you have like science production, stage, whatever. To what extent do you want to be able to work with other parties? So,
Look, if you're like a pro-science party, like, we can definitely work with you. I don't know about being an environmentalist party. I don't know about that. That might not fly too well. Okay, with the board of directors. Okay, with the shareholders. All right, I don't know. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, we're pretty much open to working with anybody so long as we have some interests in common. We're not trying to dominate anything. We're trying to devolve the power. We're trying to create a good business environment. We're not trying to institute a crazy totalitarian system or anything like that. Don't even worry about that. I don't know why that would even pop into your mind. So yeah, I mean, if you are a party with specific interests, you can approach us, and
uh,
we'll be happy to take those interests under consideration.
alright. I think those are two pretty good answers, given the questions. Next question I have is for Norjim. So, according to your party manifesto, whatever you call it, really, you are intent on making a religion for the nation. Um, but given that a lot of our religions in the past have been dominated by referendums, such as in MK6, I know that in MK5 there was a party, the Democratic Fundamentalists, who I think they pretty much kind of succeeded in making their own religion and promoting it. Um, in what manner and how would you make your proposed religion the dominant religion in Mark 8?
I mean, I think having a religious referendum is a fair point. It has been how things have done in the past, and it is a big part of the game. But I also think that, I'll just say that we're going to be campaigning very hard for our chosen tenet to be the religion. So keep an eye out for that.
Okay, and secondly, I know that in MK5, Theocratic Fundamentalists, they launched a very pretty successful campaign, in my opinion, relying on their Odin and Thor, because our nation at the time was Norway. How are you going? What are you going to tie your religion to, like um, historical Japanese or current Japanese religions, or are you gonna tie it to a totally fictional religion? How are you gonna do that?
I think we'll try and find a happy medium between sort of historical Shinto, and also complete fiction. I think having elements of Japanese religion will really help with sort of flavor and RP, but I think having fictional elements as well will make it unique to Democraciv and make it interesting and kind of get people in there, if you know what I mean.
Alright, cool. Thank you for clearing that up. And Yoda, so the monarchist. I have only one question for you, unfortunately. But um, so you have come into democracy with your national monarchist party, and unfortunately for you, it has not gained like that much support in the party list. As you can see, you are the only member of your party. You're essentially an independent. Um, how are you going to gain more members to the party? What are you doing to gain more members to the party? And are you going to consider the idea of having a merger with some other party who kind of shares your beliefs in the future? Yeah, go ahead.
So I think a merger is very, very likely in the future of the National Monarchist Party. As I think a lot of Democraciv has already joined a political party. And this being my first mark, my first single civ mark, I'm not exactly sure how to reach out to untapped bases. And so I do think the National Monarchist Party will likely end up merging with either the Patriot Party or the Disciples of Heaven. But I will not abandon my monarchist ideals.
Alright, that is a good answer. Best of luck to you. I used to be part of the monarchist party back in MK5. That was my first mark. I do hope that we could see a successful monarchist party in the future. Yeah, and best of luck to your legislative ambitions.
Whoa.
Kind of
Is the
biased.
moderator showing bias?
Hey, it's not bias, man. I'm just like
That sounded like bias to me. But
I'm
let's move
wishing
on.
luck to Yoda. I'm not even part of the freaking monarchist, okay? Considering that,
Monarchist party minus 5 votes.
huh? Too bad. And finally, Westcott. I can't actually think of one for you. Actually, considering, well, I do suppose I have one. So, it's in your campaign so far, and in your answers so far in this debate, you seem to be relying a lot on your hereditary, your experience in democracy. Um, are you gonna continue relying on that in the future? Is that how you are gonna gain votes? Is that how you are going to I suppose
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna just drop all my experience. I do think it's valuable. It's really just I've just been bringing it anecdotes, honestly, to prove my points, and that proves the point that just playing this game for a while, there's patterns to it. You learn things, and I think it's valuable to have just just experience. I mean, it's a valuable thing to have, especially in a legislator. Some of the best legislators are just ones that have been super experienced. They've been around for a while, and they learn what makes good laws. And I hope by now I've learned that.
Okay, good. Dave is back. I'm just gonna ask him the same question that I asked Yoda. Because essentially they're like one person parties. But essentially the question I'm going to ask you is, what are you doing to bring in current democracy members into your party? How are you going to do that? And In your opinion, will there be a merger with another bigger party who shares the same ideals in the future?
If there is a merger, it'll be that party with us, not us with them, because as you can see, we are a very important party with a very long history. Yeah, yeah, but a merger is not very likely. No. What was the other question again?
Oh yeah, what are you doing to ensure that members of Democraciv are coming to your party and joining the party?
Oh yeah, nothing. As you can see, we are a very small party, but we trust that most people here are smart enough to join our party because it's the best, objectively speaking.
Good answer. Good answer.
Good answer. I love that answer actually. That has, I think, in my opinion, that's the best answer.
Can I
regarding-
actually do a crossfire?
Yeah,
on that?
sure. Go ahead.
So you seemed pretty anti-merger. I think you were a defeatist in Mark 6, right?
I was 14.
I'm not
Uh,
I
anti-merger.
was 14.
14 was, yeah.
Well, so in Mark 6, 14 had the defeatist party, and they wait. Sorry, did you say you weren't anti-merger?
What? No, well, I was in.
What's
the
your
defeatist
stance on
party.
merging with another party? Become like not them merging into you merging into another party. Sorry.
He
Well-
said that's not gonna happen.
I think
just-
we're too important of a party to be merged into another
So
party.
you wouldn't merge. Well, so my point was going
Yeah,
to be
he's a
that.
fighter. He's not
Yeah,
giving up.
my
How do you
point
say
was
that?
going to be that in Mark 6, 14 merged with a party, I'm pretty sure. Unless my memory is just completely
Yeah,
fried.
I'm like.
Well,
Anyway,
I mean,
Would you do it? Would you do it in order to meet an important defeatist goal? Is what I was trying to get towards.
would I
if
do
you
it to
could
meet
get-
an important?
If you could get
defeatist goal?
like a really like if you merge with a party, say you got a few more members and then you merged, and in exchange for that, that party got some sort of defeatist policy passed that was super big.
Well, okay, so as you can see, we're the defeatist party. We want to lose the game, right? That's
Yeah.
fairly
So-
easy to understand, right? And if we ever merge with a party, it's because we think that the leader of that party is so goddamn stupid that merging with them will bring us towards defeatist goals. So you should probably pray to God that we don't merge with you. But yeah.
All right.
Alright, yeah, cool. Wino Snitchel has an audience question. Does the British party policy apply to itself? Dave, will you please answer that?
Does defeatist party policy apply to itself? As in, does the defeatist party want to lose in politics? Well, see, that creates an interest, very, very, as the French say, très intéressant. Logical, what's that word?
Paradox.
Paradox, correct. So, our goal is to fail at our goal, and since our goal is to fail at politics, we'll fail at failing politics, which means we'll win at politics.
That seems reasonable.
That is a good answer.
So yeah, yeah, we'll do as much as we can to fail to win the game.
I see. Good answer.
Wait, no, fail to lose the game.
I see. Fail to lose game. Okay. I think that concludes my question for you guys and the audience questions. Why no snitcher? I'm gonna ignore that question because I'm a dick. So, for the five of you, I want you two guys to just quickly summarize your closing statements for the debate, and we will close the debate there. So, Mouse King, you may go first with your closing statement. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, you should vote for us because we're pretty like hands-off, anti-interventionist. One might even describe us potentially as like a liberal party. I know that's kind of crazy. Um, we value growing Japan. Okay. We value states' rights. Okay. We're not like super down with the war. We're just all around. We're the everyman's party. You want to get rich. I want to get rich. We all want to get rich. Let's get rich together. So vote Mouse. Vote Prosperity. Vote Zaibatsu.
Alright, cool. Thank you. Dave.
Oh, so as you can see, we're the well, we're not called the defeatist party. Wait. Who is Dick? Okay, yeah, we're not called the defeaters anymore.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Well, I mean, we still are the defeatists, but we're slightly different in that instead of intentionally losing the game, we want to make it as hard as possible for other people to win the game. Which is why if you hate anyone else who plays this game, you should vote for us so we can make life as hard as possible for them. Plus, as you can see, there's really no logic to trolling. So, yeah, if you feel like doing something, if you feel like doing a pro gamer move, then vote for us.
Alright, Nojim.
Yeah. So we're going to space. If you want to play Beyond Earth next, Mark, vote for us. If you just want to go to space, vote for us. If you want religion, vote for us.
But what if I don't want to go to space? What if I don't
Vote
want
for
to
us anyway.
Okay, I see how it is, Nojim. Good for you. Yoda.
I want to do your mom.
Excuse me?
Damn, that was a good one.
Roasted.
Boom. Roasted.
Thank you.
Doing your mom. Doing your mom.
Yoda, your closing statements.
So, monarchy is cool, and monarchy is based, and there is nothing that says democraciv like a monarchy. That's why you should vote for me.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, Westcott.
Okay, so I mean, just to go over like my basic spiel, I want a strong parliament. I want to protect democracy. I want to make sure we have common sense systems and gameplay systems in place, infrastructure early, and I have experience. There you go.
You're really hinging on that.
And vote for it.
Yeah, okay. Vote for Westcott.
I was tacked on at the end. It's not that important, but
Okay.
vote for me or independence.
Okay.
These parties are lame.
Yeah. That concludes our debate with our 5 candidates. I believe tomorrow we also have a debate. With I forgot who's going to be in that debate, but I believe the Jukes will be moderating. To the audience and to the candidates. Please attend that debate if you are able to, and best of luck to all 5 of the candidates. And thank you all for coming. That's it.
Hell yeah.
Thank
Keep
you.
calling them, brother.
Yeah. Good job.